opportunities. The Shaman coming out.
Yeah. Shaman and Oracle, honestly, both of them extremely effective in the early levels. They have two of like the most efficient mana cost for damage nukes in the game, which also, they're also heroes that have stuns, these long duration stuns, extremely good for kill tri-lanes. That is a hard hero to kill, though, the Enchantress. This is a super kind of new meta, previously buffed heroes in the last patch draft. I'm excited to see this. Probably an Enchantress offlane.
Yeah.
Mid-Pudge, Venge, support the Enchantress. There's a lot you could do with this draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility. Like, you could even run the Venge as a core. This is kind of the beauty, though, right? We don't get to see much of FlyToMoon at the moment. They just come back in like, hey, guys, you seem to have forgotten. We like to change things up a little. I mean, you haven't seen the Pudge, you said, the Enchantress. I feel like maybe one or two teams will run it. I think the big one that comes to mind is No-Tail, because he always loves this hero. Found the viability as 5 with the buff to the Purge. Because they basically halved the Dispel cooldown on Enchant to 25, around 25 seconds now.
Yeah, the most important thing about this hero right now is the fact that the level 1 enchant now overlaps with the duration overlaps with the cooldown, which means that you can keep one creep if you want to. That makes her ability to just keep one good creep and continue roaming with it a lot higher. And if you're in the off lane, you can like get a Satyr and just continuously blast with it. And then, like you said, it's one of the only purges left in Dota that's good. It also slows for as much as Venomous Gale at level 1 and has a very high duration, low cooldown, low mana cost. So I think this hero is decent. It's really good if you're good with it. But I think for like the general player, it's something that probably maybe 2 or 3 patches down the line it'll be broken. But for now, I think she's in a probably decent spot.
It's broken out and not too OP right now. But interesting they banned out the Darkseid, considering both teams do have a Dispel here. I thought that would have been something they wouldn't have had to have prioritized, but
that's true. That's true. I suppose you could Iron Shell. I mean, yeah, actually, you could even with the Enchantress, you can take the Dom creep. You can just steal it from him. So that is, and with the lower cooldown, it's very, very easy to do that, even with a low level enchant. But that hero has been plaguing pubs for the majority of this patch. It's fallen off a little bit, but I think Darkseer had like a 60% win rate across all pro level pubs over 500 games or something, where it's like statistically a significant number. So I think that hero is pretty good, just because he's kind of like the best like aura building support offlane in the game. That new Surge is just nuts. The fact that you can put people above max movement speed. What the hell?
Not just that, like also Wolf's really powerful at the moment because of the typical meta pick heroes, right? And I just accidentally left the game because I'm smart. Nice, just get back in that.
It's the way she goes sometimes. It's just the way of the road.
Like, I accidentally tap enter. Why does enter leave game?
Let me... Oh, it does. Oh no.
Don't worry, you can reconnect.
I had to try it. It just seems.
It's weird, right? It doesn't make any sense. But hold up. Okay. This may not be a Pudge mid, unless this is, and I just seen Fogged run at his pub game. Maybe the POS 5 Storm Spirit.
And maybe. I mean, it's. I actually played position 4 Storm Spirit yesterday, and it wasn't that bad. I was kind of messing around, but he's good at trading because you press your Q and then you have the overload damage, and it's such a low mana cost that even as a support with no items, you can spam it relatively well. You have the wave clear, which is definitely effective. You can zip in, you can use dust, you can use your stun, which is now good. It's probably a mid-storm, but it's actually not that bad. Pudge just seems really hard this game to play as a core, that's all. Razor Kunkka.
I mean,
shit.
We don't really see this too often. Most people don't manage to get a scenario where the Broodmother can fit in so nicely, but guess what?
Well, congratulations to NaVi on Game 1 of FlyToMoon versus NaVi, part of the MDL Paris Major.
And NaVi are clearly back to brood picking, if nothing else right now. This, in fairness though, this is not counted in any way. Like, you look at FlyToMoon's lineup, who the hell can actually wave clear the spiders?
Yeah, this is like the very archetypical counter to a Drow strat is Broodmother. That's like the hardest. I think she might have the highest win rate versus Drow in Dota. There's not much that you can do. So you can put Storm against it, and I've seen Arteezy. This is he did this on Morphling, but he built 2 Stout Shields on Morphling, and Morphling has high armor. Storm doesn't have particularly high armor, but the Stout Shields, even though it's like the range Stout Shield, it still protects you from most of the Spiderling damage. And honestly, I'd rather see that than you just get run over because there's a Brood on the enemy team. I think Brood will do very well against the Storm Spirit, even though he has like the remnants to clear. They did reduce the magical resistance on the Brood Spiders a little bit, but I really think this Brood hero is just really strong right now. She's been buffed. She's been overbuffed.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. At the same time, like I'm looking at the Drow pick, and Drow is something I think we've seen a few teams trying to find a place for again. It was very powerful in the mid with the double Ancient Camps, but, well, probably the biggest hero hit by that Ancient Camp nerf was Drow when they removed 2 from the map.
Yeah, for sure. That's when she completely stopped getting picked as a mid hero altogether. She would just because the way that she scales is not particularly great. She's not as strong as a carry just with levels as she was before. She's kind of like at least she was like a TA where she just out farm you and she'd beat you with items. But it's a lot harder to get those without the 2 Ancient Camps, like you said, just because they give you so much gold.
Well, see how it's gonna go, because it actually looks like they are gonna try and run this Storm mid. I think it is the best choice right now. And of course, the classic combo of the Drow plus the Venge in the top. And what is the most like iconic combination for lanes you can think of for a Venge? For me, it's like Drow and Luna as the 2 choices, right?
Yeah, those are pretty. Just the aura stacks. I mean, maybe like laning. I don't know. Venge has been in a weird spot where she'll come into the meta as a hero for like 2 weeks and then just completely fall off. That just seems to be how it is for her. I think any kill heroes are going to be really good with Venge.
And let's be fair, this whole draft by FlyToMoon has been an interesting one. It kind of looked like they were counting themselves, right? They picked the Venge and then the Pudge. They banned the Darkseer, then picked the Enchantress.
Yeah, this is, I mean, but, exactly what you would expect. Pudge taunts the bot lane. What a silly hero. I'm sure he has the other taunt, but the one where he dances is just so much better.
It's true. It gets in the head, right? If it's got a noise, it's better. This is why Pangalier's taunt is definitely my favorite in the entire game.
Right. And with Pudge, you can taunt, and it turns you around, and then you throw the hook backwards because your hero model is turned around.
Pudge is actually going to try and sneak in and steal the rune. Does manage to get it. Nicely done. He's going to be rooted up, though. Will take a lot of damage. Actually, he might go down here.
He went Flesh Heap at level 1.
That's commitment to getting the rune. Oh, they need one more hit. Yogi, can he actually get away? They know where he is. Can he buy enough time?
Screwed.
Nah, he's gone. I thought maybe he could break the tree and just go for the tower, but he didn't try.
Maybe.
His tiny legs are too slow. I mean, come on. Pudge is only 281 movement speed.
He's so fat and slow, actually. All right, so this is basically exactly what you would expect for a Pudge's contribution in the laning phase so far. Like, just go walk in and die.
I kind of like that he's leaned into it, though, right? By taking the Flesh Heap.
Yeah, sure. He's just going to take her ass for the Enchantress, but I guess I'm not too sure if he needed to do that in the first place.
I don't think Enchantress is having a good time over here. Look at NoFear.
Oh, she went enchant level 1.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Snako will not stop chasing him now. I mean, you can TP away, but the damage is kind of done at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, Snako has Fortune's End up in 3 seconds. 120 damage. NoFear's got to be careful. He can just maybe turn this.
Snako's a little bit scared, though, because he did actually find an ideal treat, the Dark Troll Summon, to slow things down, but... I mean, you're still... Yes, you're keeping Snako away from the lane, but who needs XP more here? Is it the Oracle or the Enchantress?
Probably the Enchantress. Oh, I mean, it's hard to say. You have a 5-roll hero that's wasting the time of a 4, though. Like, if they can commit an Oracle to scouting the rotations of Enchantress, I think this is definitely good for NaVi. You have a Razor versus a Pudge.
This should be where the harassment stops, though, because he did find the glorious creep that you always want to find. He got his hand on Saturn.
That is the single best creep to get on Enchantress. At the very least, if you're trying to pressure this offlane. He's got a re-enchant it, though. Okay, so he does. Nice. Yeah, really abusing that new level 1 enchant. The overlap is just That was what made this hero fall off as a support, is when it didn't overlap at level 1, the duration and the cooldown. So you couldn't do this. You just couldn't have it creep with you all the time.
Top lane.
Top lane.
Always want to fly, taking a lot of damage here. He might just get away. Actually, they do have the shot. They'll close the kill. Chu gets it. And let's focus on this mid lane for a moment, because if you have a look, Iceberg is dominating the CS here.
Yeah, he's a god. Yeah, I mean, I really do think like the changes to the Broodlings probably makes it so that Storm with level 2 and Static Remnant, especially with the damage they do. I want to see what the Broodling... Okay, so the Broodlings have 280 health.
And they're down to, is it 20... That's 39%. So they're still on 39%, but yeah, you actually can easily get overwhelmed by that. We just saw
so
again.
He kills the Spiderites, the little ones, very quickly, in one hit. Ooh, Drow actually gets a kill, surprisingly.
Yeah, we're so focused... Like, because that is... Yes, these kills are interesting, folks, but how this mid matchup goes says a lot, because Brood actually might go down. Iceberg goes in, gets the kill very far up. Chu should get him afterwards, but he'll salve just to try and stay alive. The problem is Chu has a windlace and boots, so Iceberg is not getting away from this.
No way. That's spam pings come out. I mean, that's honestly all right. Shadow Shaman is definitely a hero that you want to get those kills. Like he's a hero that scales to become eventually a core, but I don't know. When your Brood's getting solo killed by a Storm, maybe that does not make it all right. You want your Brood to be running over the game as early as possible, but he is weak in those earlier levels. Top lane.
Going in again. A lot of damage done to always want to fly, throw out the magic missile, but it's too late for him, and now Arc has to back up as well, because they definitely hit a lot harder than this Drow. Well, Razor in the bot lane. Oh, there's going to be a 10-round kill, and Enchantress goes down as well.
All right, that's a Flesh Heap stack for Pudge. So this is a Pudge 4. So what are our players we're looking at? It's just balloons.
Look at it.
Or sorry, it's a Pudge 3.
Yeah, I was about to say it's free because Enchantress is support.
Yeah. So running it in that off lane, I guess that's, makes sense. He goes for the Flesh Heap then. Just Lenny against a Razor. There's not much kill potential until you're
mid.
A little bit higher.
Well, they got Iceberg. They caught him diving again. It took 2 additional heroes compared to the one last time, and now, well, that's happening. Oracle in the bot lane.
Wow, they hooked him into... I think they just hooked him. That's it. They didn't even use anything else.
There's a lot going on in this lane. In fact, it's an interesting rotation coming out from Blizzy there. We usually don't see it this early, but the Brood was struggling, so definitely the right call. Yeah.
If Brood dies like once in the lane, you need to help her out. She's all about getting ahead. Pressuring at the 10-minute mark. Bunch of spiders.
Oh, it's happening again. Top lane. They got the Shackles out in the bench. Going to throw a magic missile on the Shadow Shaman. Drow moving past, wants the bounty rune. He's always want to fly will die, but so will Chu. Narc, actually, he's ahead. He should be able to move on to the room, but he decides against it and just keeps prodding and
level
poking.
3 frost arrows, so...
Pretty good. Well, it gets clipped by the torrent, though. Almost.
That was nice.
Meanwhile, bot lane. A chase going on. Yoki pretty low. He's going to turn around, hit on the Crystallize, who can't use the static link quick enough here, but they will get the kill. Looks like NoFear will get one in return, though.
I can't believe Pudge is killing a Razor in this lane. Like this is actually just Storm Spirit mid lane. He's about to die again.
Oh no, he's gonna get. I'm just hands off the mouse right now. What is happening in this game? As you said, right? You've got this Pudge actually getting return kills, even if it's post-mortem onto a Razor.
This back and forth rotating mid. Like they have 3 heroes mid, and one of them's an offlaner.
And this is definitely teamwork, right? This is where you don't want anyone to lose. The question is, like my pub games, will this backfire when I try and recover all the lanes, or will this work? Because I feel like they're neglecting their Razor every time they have to give so much attention to mid. We just saw it a moment ago when he died.
Yeah, but Drow is definitely being completely left alone up in the top lane. Oh.
That hurt. Max range coming out on the plasma field. Now they're going to chase down Yoki as well. He doesn't have level 6. No easy way to protect himself. Crystallize will dive with the creep wave.
They got the creeps under the tower?
Yep.
So they can dive?
They're chasing. They're going for it. They're going to root him up. Kunkka dies to Iceberg in the top lane in the meantime, but Yoki will go down. No fear. Slowing down on the Sneko. Wants to turn around, look for a kill and do him, but it does get disarmed, so he'll back away. Deer is a fragile meat, as we just saw from his HP pool from one whip of the Razor there.
Yeah, both of these bot heroes just so low armor to this basically purely physical damage hero, the Razor. it's really difficult to play into this hero's Pudge. He just out farms you in the lane, and then he gets items, and the items give him enough HP to just turn and kill you. Generally, that's how it goes. Although they are getting kills on him because they're just super high skill.
Yeah, and look
Level
at the
2 in
build
the
as
flesh
well.
heap, actually. Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. It's not just that. It's 2 in the rot, 2 in the flesh heap, only 1 in the meat hook, which is pretty counterintuitive to what we've almost exclusively seen in a long time for Pudges, which is priority on the hook.
Yeah. It makes sense to go for the rot level 2 just because rot level 1 is so awful. 11% slow is pathetic. It doubles in damage too. It gives you the ability to actually right-click people on the rot as opposed to just run at them with the rot. So that's pretty huge.
That was one of the most abnormal changes they made, especially the time they made that. It was a while ago, but I remember Pudge was not being picked at all. And they just instantly decided, hey, we're just going to like half the level 1 rot.
Oh my god. Dude, don't get me started on that. Oh my god, I wish they didn't change that. And the hook speed nerf. The hook speed nerf, man. That's what really did it in for Pudge. Because they changed the jungling, where you couldn't pull the jungle anymore. And that was enough to make him not meta, in my opinion. But then they also nerfed other stuff.
I just feel like sometimes maybe Ice Frog has bad experiences in pub games, like walking into Dendy. Bot lane as well. 2 fights going on. The top lane always want to fly, gonna go down, but should be drag back to kill off No Fear. Gonna get him low, but the disarm's down to Razor. Now he needs to move away. They've trying to help, but instead Seneko may have just ensured the death of Razor. A nice clip with a Frost Arrow there. Seneko's been seen as well, being slowed up, and he should fall as the secondary kill in this bot lane.
I didn't realize this was Yoki, by the way. Now this makes so much more sense. This guy's like...
What was the giveaway?
This guy's like...
Did you see the phase boots? You're like, oh, yeah, that's definitely Yoki.
No, it was that you kept calling him Yoki.
that usually helps, yeah.
That'll do it, yeah. But he's, obviously one of the OG Pudge players. He was, after Dendy, it's like Yoku, and then you have your Cupes, which came into the limelight a little bit later, but Yoki is I mean, this guy's a Pudge god. I'm glad he went for the face boots. It's just like doubles Pudge's effective HP because he's such little armor.
Uh-oh. Have mercy on Ark? Okay, he's good. It looked like Brood might commit for a moment there, but then there was the nice little wave of terror coming in from Always Want to Fly that scared him away.
It's awkward, too, because you don't want to, like, extend your webs that far down at this point. He's only got 4 of them, so if he does that, he's stuck there with those webs.
I think
it's always awkward to play around a Brood like this.
That's the interesting thing, right? Because of the way that webs are, you kind of have to just treat it like a tactical map overlay. You're like, okay, I know this area is dangerous. I know you take X amount of time to actually reposition your web, so if I play around the other side of the map, there's no way you reach me in the next minute or 2.
Yeah, a lot of players, if they're getting chased by a Brood, they'll just run off the webs, and it's like, even if you die to her, you're forcing her to reposition her
The boat in the bot lane. No Fear's been caught. The hook safe coming out from Yoki's pretty good, though. Ark will be able to escape. Magic Missile to stop Razor from pursuing, but Blizzy, he has got the X, and he sees the Drow. Shackle's on the side, Always Want to Fly, locked on the spot, can't help out. They'll drag back the Drow, but there'll be a TP away, and they don't have the damage to finish her off. Beautiful save by Yoki.
Yeah, that was a nice TP too. Knowing that like, all the stuns are down, Shadow Shaman was distracted up top.
There's no one for
Speaking of Shaman, he's got his wards up now. Yeah, so pressure in the spot lane. This is good because it gives Brood a little bit of time to farm. She's got the medallion. Good early game item for Brood.
Question is, what's happening on the other side? Storm is getting very close to that Kaya. Actually, he has it. Then...
Yeah, that'll be pretty huge. They don't have a significant amount of lockdown for Storm. It's basically the Shadow Shaman. All the other heroes are like pseudo lockdown, so it's the Kaya is going to be quite effective. Like they can fight pretty early.
Just so many ways to disrupt the combos from each side. You got swap on one side, you got the X on the other that can instantly just ruin anything being channeled like the
Pudge up too.
Pudge. Ooh. Doesn't hit the hook. They did just farm the wards though, and that wasn't much damage done. The X is going to come out now. The boat as well. They're going to throw everything on Yoki as he gets dragged back.
I don't know about this though. It's a Pudge, man.
It's
Do you really
pretty
to a Pudge?
No, because Chris lies. Living's been broken. Now they need to get out. Kunkka is in a little bit of trouble. Blizzy does have the face boots and is pretty tanky though. Question is, who's committing more here? Like this is definitely more commit from NaVi.
Yeah, for sure.
If iceberg, they want to shackle him. Yeah, Chew's pretty deep. He needs to be a little bit careful, but the assistant of the Broodmother scares away. Always one fly, kills him off. Shackles, but long-range hooks try and get him away. Storm Spirit's been seen. Torrent up in the air. Low on mana, needs to make his escape. They do actually keep Crystallize alive. False Promise out. And now they're going to actually have to just commit the Dismember. Pudge is going to be left behind. Iceberg might just about live. The Gust comes out. Broodmother still chasing forward, but the right click's going to hit up on Iceberg. Still no mana, gets dragged back to his death, and Arc will join him in the grave. This isn't just a one-person funeral anymore. Now they're going to try and turn around, look for a kill on a Razor. Magic Missile comes out. So low, but not quite enough. Finally, they get the kill with the Impetus, but no fear. He'll go down for it. It's going to be a team wipe, and all it cost Na'Vi with 2. And they dove to the Tier 2 tower before the Tier 1 even went down.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with picking, Drow, who does basically nothing in the early game. If you don't have a lot of farm, you have a Pudge who, honestly, he kind of feels like he's a support at this point. This is what Core Pudge always happens with Core Pudge. He becomes eventually a support. He feels like he's just a support Pudge. And then it's just Storm doing damage at that point. It's just Storm who's the core. But Storm doesn't really want to fight that early. He does have an early Kaya, but I don't know. Storm would like to have Kaya Bloodstone like level 12 before he fights, probably. At least level 12. That level 1 zip is awful.
That is the big difference here. Is just having his hands on level 1 zip. It's just crippling because you just saw how quickly his mana pool disappeared in that small stint between the Tier 1 and Tier 2.
Yeah. Oh, man. The new Storm, I'm still like a little bit... I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm still a little bit... I'm not sure how to feel about it yet. I've seen it in pubs. Yeah, it seems okay. It seems better than it was, but I think just the fact that the regen is so much worse than it was before.
Yeah.
It's such a problem for Storm.
Because the way they changed the calculation. And speaking of Storm, he's been fouled. There's no escape from that. 3-man rotation connects with his face, and he hits the dirt. And though...
Top tower's going to drop now, too.
Yeah, even without the wards, they can push. Na'Vi are building a slight lead now. This back-and-forth bloodbath starting to go their way, and all the while, just look where Magical is. There's no retreat point that the side of FlyToMoon can go to recover. Their own triangle has been claimed by the Spider Lady.
Yeah, that's the fortunate consequence of having a Brood last pick is that there's nobody that can clear your spiders. This, like, level 8 to 12 power spike that Brood has from just having the spiders. That's why having a Brood counter is so good. It's not because you deal with her in the lane, because she just farms. It's this point where she can't pressure you if you have counters. But if you have none, she's just pressure from start to finish.
Oh, Iceberg, no, that was not the move. He just committed solo on to Chew there. Long-range zip instantly gets punished by the Shaman for it.
Imagine if he was level 12. That's. I mean, he probably still dies there, but at least that zip is...
They have to move away from the tower because he would have arrived earlier. That's something, I guess. Drag back, Arc in trouble. Will go down, and no way to deal with this Broodmother. Instead, always want to fly will die alongside his core.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be just like an unkillable Brood game. It's got the Diffusal Blade building into the... It's actually going back for treads. Just such an effective item, in my opinion, for the just because of the insatiable hunger. The fact that it gives you that raw damage, the attack speed from treads is so nice, along with the tankiness. Medallion 2, he's got 20 armor.
Of course, they did dial back the ridiculousness of treads a little bit in terms of stat game, but yeah, of course, most heroes, it's a required item, but is this definite value for the Brood? You already move fast enough, it's more about that stat gain and attack speed.
Yeah, phase boots would be good just because it's super effective on melee heroes, but you already have the phasing, so it's a little bit redundant. Iceberg killing the spiders. They're not worth that much though.
Yeah, that was a huge inflated CS as we saw. Like you up to almost 200 now, but then you look at the net worth. There's a decent difference between the Broodmother and the Storm.
About 2,000.
Oh, hook bot lane. They may have found his target. Blizzy's a good one as well, because he's the dangerous initiation that Na'Vi has. So they'll drop him and probably look to push on this tier 2. They've got 4 heroes down here.
That's a really huge kill. Blizzy has been completely controlling these fights with like 2-man torrents, his boats. He's constantly X-marking people. He's been kind of controlling the tempo of this game as if he was a support, even with ganks on the mid lane. But he's obviously got core level farm, and he's core. So yeah, really, really important hero to kill right at the start. Although he's about to be alive.
See how hard they want to commit to this. They've got a catapult, so at least force out the glyph. The wards would commit top though, so it'll be a trade at best. Might not get much actually if you FlyToMoon here. No, they're in the jungle actually. Look at this. Na'Vi making the strike on the Drow here. Does see him. The invis room will not protect, and the spiders even arrive. They want to feed on this poor little drow, and they'll be able to find it.
That is so inconvenient that they have a sentry there just literally for dewarding purposes. There's no invis on the side of FlyToMoon. He just walked straight through a sentry with the invis room. They didn't have vision of him or anything.
It's pretty unfortunate.
It's just luck. They
didn't manage to get no fear though. They almost got him. They had the extra back, but then we got that interesting interaction where you're like, oh, if we don't have the shaman, we actually can't kill Bambi, or at least the Kunkka boat combo. But at the same time, you don't want to commit both the boat and the torrent just on the enchantress kill.
And she's just kind of a useless support at this point. It doesn't do that much damage. Doesn't have a dragon lance yet, so it's really hard for her to right click in these fights. We've been seeing that Oracle hasn't even been like bothering to disarm her. Because if she runs into the fight, she's just going to die in the crossfire to a lot of heroes. So she's not even trying to right click and get in there.
I mean, she's a little bit more tanky now as well because she did go for the drums and is always sticking on strengths.
Yeah. Hard to burst, but not like a super important hero to deal with.
Super important thing to deal with on the map, though. NaVi have gone in the Roche pit. I mean, if you look on the map, FlyToMoon are getting no value, really, anywhere. They're not pushing a tower. They're not looking for any kills or trying to counter the Roche.
Yeah. You got a drow farming, but Iceberg is in the exact same area, which if you were in a pub and you have a Storm who's farming the same area as your drow, like these two people are like spam pinging each other and telling each other to go away. But this is just the situation the Windstrike is in. They don't have anywhere else to go on the map. It's now Iceberg could probably go split push top. Honestly, I'd like to see him cutting waves.
The guy actually keeps trying to push bot. The swap's going to come up. The X is already there. He'll drive back in the torrent. A nice hook to interrupt. Beautifully done by Yoki. TP out. Interrupted though. No fear can't escape. Shu with the blink dagger online ensures the enchanters will at least fall to this. Can they find more though? It looks like everyone else got out. That does create a little bit of space for Ark to go back to his primary jungle. But that'll probably just be temporary.
Yep, space for Iceberg too to take that mid wave. Pressure the mid tower. So somebody has to respond to that. Looks like Brood is heading over.
Interesting you mentioned that, Jenkins. The mid tower, which we're almost 20 minutes in. It's still up. And then look at FlyToMoon's side of the map. Kind of lacking some buildings here.
Yeah, looks like they have one left, and then they probably lose the game if any other buildings drop. So not doing too hot here.
But that's kind of the realism of the scenario, right? Is like that mid tower being up for NaVi. I mean, it helps the Roche. It helps so many things because it gives you easy access to the Roche. It makes sure that FlyToMoon can't move across the map from the bottom area. They've literally been stuck in this area that's now being taken away from them.
Yep. And the Brood has been doing most of the taking away, to be honest. It's like, you Brood on one side making a space unsafe, and then you have the rest of NaVi elsewhere. And it's the mid-tower that made it possible to do that, because Brood has somewhere to run in the worst-case scenario. She feels a lot safer. And speaking of safe, she's feeling pretty safe with this Aegis pushing high ground right now.
Especially with the walls to back her up. Magic Missile goes out. Magic down to half HP. Atos there. Nice hook through Yoki. Got the right one. The boat won't protect or stop the Pudge, but there it is. The False Promise coming out. Going to turn around on the Pudge. He's run out of mana quick. They're going to try and move away. They already got the kill on Avenge. Nothing else open to them right now except for the tower. They pop the Aegis at least. And they defend. They need 15 seconds to dismember. Which is problematic. Magical is chasing forward, and there's the torrent coming out. Lands on the Pudge. Silence going to be there under the Broodmother. Has to back away down to half HP. They've already lost the Bambi as well. Enchantress is down. Buyback comes out. They'll get off the high ground, and NaVi will look to retreat. The slows on the Crystallize. Looks like he might fall. They should have the damage to bring him down. Can they find more? Oh, no. They got another slow Arc. Chasing forward. These Frost Arrows doing a lot of work. Going to town and Seneko next. Going to be a zip proof from the Storm Spirit. Will get themselves a secondary kill. But doesn't look like they'll find more.
Brood's got to be careful. He's only got one web left. They're not going for him, though. God, that hook was nuts. That hook was actually, like... Oh, lucky. It was quite lucky. The Manta just putting him in the right spot to get hooked there. Waste the Aegis, which means Magical has to play on the back line the whole time. He just has to play scared. Like, he couldn't go in like a madman there because he had no Aegis. He was taking tier 4 hits when he respawned. So he's sitting at like 40% HP, which means it's basically a 5v4 because Brood doesn't want to go in.
Like, problematic, but that's kind of the result of this build. I mean, you went for the Mantra instead of the BKB, understandably, when you have that Pudge in the game.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's also, you know, you have the low cooldown Orchid to take off, you have the Enchant, dodge the... you have the Drow Silence, dodge the Venge Stun, but I think in that moment, he probably wishes he could just have BKB'd and ran in after that Aegis respawned him, because it's like he got hooked and stunned anyway, despite the Manta.
I mean, that's one of the big things, though. You look at the lineup, right? They've got the swap, which goes through BKB. They've got the dismember that goes through BKB. It is a little bit concerning if you're sitting there going, I have to build BKB, but at the same time, you've already built this Manta. You don't want to have to build 2 items that are functioning defensively like that. And some defense needed. Doesn't matter with the hook away. Drags Iceberg back. Can it zip off? Can he actually survive this? He needs to buy TP and get out. He's just got enough mana, but he doesn't have the time to TP anymore. He's just going to go down. Oh, one final zip. Spit across gets him, though.
Did he not have a TP when he was zipping?
He must not. It looked like it. It looked like he grabbed one just before I clicked on him. Because why wouldn't you TP otherwise?
I mean, I guess if you're just freaking out, it's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. But, hey, yeah, no, not...
Come on, Iceberg's a calm cucumber.
Yeah, it's true. Not like him to freak out like that.
Like the problem. But beautifully done by Navi to identify that as well, that they can easily chase because he didn't have a TP on him.
Yep.
Back up to the high ground they go. You do need a creep wave to do this, however, Navi. Just coming in right now. They do have the Serpent Wars level 2 as well, so they should be at least able to finish off this tower. Oh, Atos.
Yeah. Broodmother? Ooh, that sucks that web despawned right there.
Hook doesn't connect. Hex coming out. Shackles as well. Magic Missile and drops. Drow down to half HP. Swap out. Won't save her life, though. She's going to go down. Boat's going to come in. Interrupts the Dismember. And now they'll follow up on Avenge. Yoki trying to actually stand his ground in the meantime. Storm trying to snipe out in the back line. Does get the kill on the Shaman. We'll have to go away, though. No mana left to work with. They got the X. This might be over. Iceberg going to be locked on the spot and ran straight through. Double kill for Magical. Now they can finish off the racks. But this won't just be one set. They're already moving across the mid.
All right, Yoki. Let's see it.
Let's see the tier.
They need something. Draw buyback. They need Storm for the damage.
I mean, you know, draw buyback is something, but like you said, they don't want to risk it. At the same time, you need the Storm for the damage. It's definitely Navi playing safe, but in fairness, if they just get rid of these shrines in preparation for the next Roche, if you don't interrupt this as FlyToMoon, the game is over.
It also makes a lot of sense to back off after taking Arax, just because you get such a large influx of gold. It's like, well, you know, we may as well go high ground with another item each than just try to go high ground right now, you know? So it makes sense. It's the safer play for sure. They got a Brood, picks up the double damage in the bottle, Kunkka's bottle. Blizzy's been supporting this Brood so well all game. Won the lane for him, gives him the bottle.
It's kind of the story of the game, actually, when you think about it, is the way the offlaners have played in this, right? Because the Pudge, realizing like there was a counter pit, FlyToMoon kind of relegated it, right? And he fulfilled that role pretty well, and he's been a good support. Blizzy, done the same for the mid, reset it, recovered it for the Broodmother.
Yep, I think a lot of the fights that have gone okay for FlyToMoon have been where the Pudge hooks and saves somebody. It's just unfortunate that that's kind of all you can do when you're this far behind, is you can just hook people out and save them. And then the occasional, like, godly hook into towers or on one target, but...
Even then it's hard because of the Kunkka, right, with the X. Yeah,
there's a lot of ways to just save somebody. But he's been doing a good job, like, essentially playing as Avenge.
Double Avenge is powerful, dude. Especially when you got the double swap on the Avenge itself. So technically, you kind of got 3 swaps.
Yeah, technically speaking. Speaking of Avenge on the top lane, they're looking to maybe set up some sort of side lane gank here. This is something that not enough players do in pubs when they're behind, is actually play in a side lane with the core. Because you're not needed back in the base. You can just TP. Now he shows. So
Crystallize's just trying to bait them out there. He was X back near the base, and actually they dragged Arc out. He came looking to try and move away with the Gust, but it's too late. Drow is down, 70 seconds dead. He has no way back into this. Yeah, he pulled back. Previous fight, hooked through. I mean, it's on the Kunkka, though. You're going to dismember him up. Have you got the damage to bring him down in time? Magic Missile will stun him up. He can get the bow out if he wants to, but he's just going to move away. Lance there. This is going to be Vortexing, dragging him towards his death. Blizzy getting low, but away, mate. Turns around, just cleaves down and kills off Storm. Going to be zipping out. Boat's finally going to come in. Crystallize getting free. Low, turns around, gets the whip out, and they'll bring him down. Iceberg moving across to the side. There's going to be a buyback coming up from the Pudge, but they're pursuing. They know where Iceberg is. He dodges out the X drag back. They'll get the kill to NoFear, and now Yoki's going to be chased down as well. The Atos locks him on the spot, and the GG comes out. FlyToMoon, no, there's no way back into this game. Game 1 going the way of NaVi.
There's a Rampage right at the end. God. a little bit too crazy on the draft from FlyToMoon, I would say. Which, I mean, it's kind of their niche as a team, is doing crazy drafts, but like there's no brood counter, obviously, because when you have this like wacky draft, you're not going to draft any heroes that are a brood counter, because if Pudge was a counter to brood, he'd be good. You have the Razor, pick Pudge into it. Enchantress is this new hero. People are still trying to figure out like where to put Drow. Build a Drow strat with Pudge. Like, there's a lot of weird elements to their draft. I think maybe just like dialing it back a little bit. There was glimmers of hope in there for sure.
It's kind of like, how to put this, as you said, their draft's a little bit crazy, but crazy doesn't always work out. Crazy doesn't always go the good way. And this was a perfect example. We kind of said it in the draft. In some degrees, it felt like FlyToMoon were countering their own heroes, right? With some of the bans, it didn't make sense. Some of the picks, it was like block picks very early on. And maybe showing the Pudge in the first phase, not the best idea.
I get it, though. I get it. You have a Pudge player. You have 2 Pudge players on your team. You want this hero to be your specialty hero. You want people to first phase ban it. So, like, you want to be able to pick it in the first phase and do fine with it. And I think honestly he did do relatively fine. The only problem is he eventually became a support, which always seems to happen with Pudge if he doesn't snowball. Iceberg on Storm was kind of a problem in this game. He was dying a lot where I think he shouldn't. And then also the Drow Ranger, naturally, this hero is kind of useless until she gets like 2 or 3 items. So you have this Pudge who's a support, you have Iceberg who's a Storm Spirit who usually doesn't want to fight until you get level 12, then you have a Drow who doesn't want to fight until she gets 2 or 3 items. You just have a bunch of heroes that don't really want to fight. Who does the damage in the early game? Your 4 Enchantress that was running around chasing an Oracle?
I think an interesting way to look at it is, I'd say FlyToMoon was like, they were basically looking, they were gambling with that snowball, right? They were trying like, okay, we're coming in the mid game, we're really just trying up that tempo. I think at that stage they thought Navi were going to dial it back and go, okay, we'll get something late game, we'll cover ourselves. But that brood pick seemed to come out of nowhere, and FlyToMoon just weren't ready.
That sealed the deal. That brood pick. It's like, you have this weird draft, bunch of low armor ranged heroes. What could you pick right now to just make them regret doing this like new meta bullshit? Brood is almost always the answer. Yeah, brood or Huskar. Meepo would have been good too. Meepo would have been good as well.
That's true, actually.
Like, what's the Meepo counter here?
I mean, nothing. Like they're so single target focused. I think that's a fair point. But that does mean, however, NaVi take game 1. We're gonna have a few minutes break, guys, and then we'll be back with the second game to see if FlyToMoon can bounce back, or if NaVi are just gonna pick brood again, run down mid, and murder everyone. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get something a little less. I'll honestly say it one-sided. This one was a little bit brutal for FlyToMoon. A short break, then we'll be back to see what they got in store for us.